Sorry about that, I had to stretch. In accordance with the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, this channel is not to be viewed by children under the age of 13. Your discretion is advised. Hey everybody, Dragon Mark here, and welcome back to Let's Play Shadowrun Dragonfall, Director's Cut. Last left off, we got our payment for taking out the Humanist Paula Club. Alexander seems to be doing okay, he's at Samuel's. We actually helped out with Samuel by donating some more. We chatted with mostly everyone. We learned that Dietrich actually has an ability of basically, you know, consecrating a new ley line, and we found out about some new missions. So, let's actually go check out the mission computer again. I want to see something. Jobs directory. Pharma cleanup job. Here you'll find a... Oh, right. If you already saw the last episode, we already, you know, just discussed all this. Basically, this is just about cleaning up a facility, killing a facility. Let's accept it. Alright. Mark 6 prototype extraction. Ansel's face winks onto the screen. Shift. Here you'll find the complete transcript of my conversation with Herr Schmidt, a potential client. As you will see, the details of the job are a bit more vague than I would like. The payout is quite substantial. After reading the transcript, you may choose whether or not to accept the job. If you respond in the affirmative, our client will be notified, and I will make all the necessary preparations for the run. One other thing. Herr Schmidt provided me with a device to assist you on the run. He calls it a little black box, apparently. It can be used to compromise the power and security systems of the run site. If you have to take the job, be sure to take it with you. Amsel's image flickers, then winks away. A moment later, a glowing blue text field begins to scroll up from the bottom of the screen. Greetings, Herr Amsel. I trust that this connection is secure? Naturally. To whom do I have the pleasure of speaking? Call me Herr Schmidt. Very well, Herr Schmidt. You have some business for me? Indeed. I have a job for your team. A simple matter. Judging by what I've heard of your team, I imagine they will be well suited for the task. Go on. The interests that I represent have learned that AG Chemi Europa is working on a company-wide product. Something very secret, very new. Reliable sources inform me that they're keeping a working prototype of this new venture at their Berlin facility. I see. And your employers wish us to acquire this prototype for them. Naturally. What is this project? If you want my team to grab the prototype for you, they'll need to know what they're looking for. I'm not at liberty to say. I can tell you that the prototype has been branded Mark 6. I can also tell you that your team will find it on the 25th floor of the Berlin facility, in the office of one Albrecht Haushofer. Further, I can assist your team in disabling the building security and getting access up to the 24th floor. From there, however, they will be on their own. Such vagueness can be dangerous, Herr Schmidt. I will not commit my team to a run without a better understanding of what the job entails. Facing such danger is the purpose of a Shadowrunner, Herr Amsel. Your team will be rewarded handsomely for their services. My employers have set aside 20,000 yuan for the job. Consider it hazard pay if you wish. Make it 25,000 yuan or look somewhere else. 22,500 yuan, final offer. Very well. I will pass your offer on to my team. Are there any other further details that you can provide? Hofshauer office will be located behind a vault door. The lock is old-fashioned of the mechanical variety. I will provide your team with a copy of the key. I will also supply you with a little black box, a solid-state device that your team can use to override a variety of building systems. Your team will enter through the facility's underground garage. When your team has acquired the Mark 6, have them exit through the same garage. I will have a van waiting for them to extract them. Thank you, Herr Schmidt. I'll pass your offer on to my team. Good day, Herr Amsel. Let's accept it. You take the little black blocks from the desk and pocket it before turning your attention to the screen. Let's see. Any relevant keywords? No. Pay data. Already took that. Vid. Payback is sweet. The screen flickers to life and Maxime's face appears. He's wearing a broad grin, and you can hear the sounds of celebration in the background. Hey there, Muscle. Not sure if Tuck gave me the right address, but I figured it was worth a shot. I don't know if you heard, but our favorite Polyclub got hit with from all sides by the F-State today. It was glorious. Anyway, just thought you'd want to share the good news. And thanks for your help back there. I don't think we would have made it out there without you. He raises a hand in salute. Take care, Shift. The message ends and the image fades. You find yourself back in your inbox. RE, thanks. Alexander, to Shift. Hey, Shift. Uncle Diedrich told me that I could message you here, so I figured that I should. He probably told you that I'm living at Samuel's, huh? Well, that's where I am. It's different, I'll give it that much. I like that I don't get pressured to hurt people here, so that's good. Nobody smacks me around, even though I can tell that a lot of the orcs and trolls want to. I do get yelled at a lot, and called a lot of names. But I guess that making me feel bad about that kind of thing is all part of the plan. Life kind of sucks right now, but at least nobody is going to make me kill anyone. Uncle D says that it's going to get better, and maybe I will. I don't know. Anyway, what I most wanted to say was thanks for not killing me back at the Humanist compound. I had a gun on you, so you totally could have, but you didn't. And I'm really glad about that. Thanks, Alexander. So, looks like our little run with the Humanist Club did well. We stopped a hate group, we kicked their butts, we sold out their information we sold out their donor intel, and we got Alexander out there. That's a good thing. For the first time since you met her, Glory's expression seems to brighten. It's subtle, but it's there. You're sure of it. Shift. A pleasure as always. Need anything from me? How you doing, Glory? Golden as always, Shift. No problems here. If I didn't know any better, I think you were warming up to me. She studies your face for a moment before responding. I suppose that you might say that. I don't talk to many people, Shift. It just doesn't seem to be worth the effort. I don't really feel much anymore. Not since... She caresses the chrome on her forearm with a hand made from articulated steel. If that's true, why are you still talking to me? I suppose because you've shown an interest. And because you haven't let me push you away. She locks eyes with you. Her expression is blank. I don't want to mislead you, Shift. I still don't feel anything. Not warmth or friendship or even trust. But I can appreciate the effort you're making. It's something new. And it's worthy of exploring. Any thoughts on the last run? I have no strong feelings about the run one way or another. Humanist is of course a horrible organization. But then, so is every other target we've run against. To say that they deserved it would be redundant. She pauses for a moment to consider. That said, I'll admit that I do enjoy a certain satisfaction thinking of Stahl's head breaking apart. So there's that. Stahl had it coming. So, are you ready to tell me about that chrome you're sporting? I'm getting there, Shift, but you'll have to give me some time. The answers will come when they do. You said things went bad when you turned 14. I had to keep talking about that. She stares at you, her face expressionless. No, I'd rather not. Why not? Because I don't see a reason to. The memories are unpleasant and dredging them up doesn't serve any real purpose. You're wrong about that. The last time we talked had an impact on you. That's reason enough to continue. She pauses for a moment to consider your words, a troubled look on her face. I suppose that's true. Feeling discomfort is better than feeling nothing at all. Alright, here's the deal, Shift. I'm gonna talk, you listen. When I'm done, I'm done. No complaints, no arguments. We'll see what happens. Deal? Deal. Right. The 1,000-meter stare creeps back into Glory's eyes. A moment later, she's locked away in her own head, reliving memories that she'd long since filed away. So a few days after my 14th birthday, I began to express magically. You're magically active? I was. Glory gestures at her cyberware riddled body. Not anymore. There was another long pause and Glory becomes more animated. Anyway, I turned 14. I awakened. I don't even remember how my parents found out about it anymore. I think that my dad caught me playing with a tiny city spirit that I coaxed out of a pile of garbage, something like that. Well, with everything that happened afterward, those days are kind of a blur. What I do remember is my father's response to the revelation that his little girl was a witch, a hexe. He beat the living shit out of me with his fists, and then his belt, and then a claw hammer that he grabbed out of his toolbox. Jesus. All the while my mother was screaming and flailing at him. She took a couple of licks with the hammer too. I'd very much like to murder your father. I'm not kidding, I probably will do it too. It's a common sentiment, believe me, but I appreciate the thought. So finally, after what felt like an hour, Dad stopped tuning me up with the hammer. I had broken limbs, a busted arm, I couldn't see out of my left eye, and my entire right side was covered with one giant bruise. I was bleeding all over the place, making a real mess of the carpet. The old bastard spat on me, his bleeding, crying daughter. He spat on me and told me I was des Theophil's Hure, the devil's whore. Then he kicked me out of the house. As I was crawling away, my father told me that if he or any of his cruise ritter brothers ever saw me again, they'd treat me as the Berlin chapter treats the enemies of God. If you're not familiar with how the cruise ritters here in Berlin deal with heretics, it's decidedly less pretty than what my dad and his buddies do to the victims. I got the hint, and the next morning I hitched a ride out of Stuttgart. You were a human girl, presumably with an ID. Why didn't you go to a hospital? Oh, I did, but not in Stuttgart. If I went to a local hospital with the kind of injuries that Dad gave me, there'd be questions. And I couldn't afford to stay in town any longer than I had to. Even if my dad wound up getting arrested for beating me, the rest of the local cruise ridders would have found me, and I have wound up skinned alive and thrown into the car. I wound up in Tübingen. I figured it'd be safe enough to place to find medical attention, and maybe call home. It's not far from Stuttgart, but it was a huge student community that I had figured I could blend into, and the university there has a decent magical department. My ride dropped me off at the university hospital, and they patched me up pretty good. Had some questions about me, about how I got so beaten up, but I lied and told them I had been mugged, which played nicely into my complete lack of cash, credit, and identification. Glory pauses for a moment and looks down at the floor, then fixes her eyes on you. She's visibly tense. We're gonna fast forward through the next few years. I was a street kid. I was a kid on the street. I got by as best I could, doing whatever I had to. The rest we can leave up to your imagination, good? You did what you had to do. I'm no stranger to that myself. I don't think anyone working the shadows is. She nods. I figured you'd understand. So anyway, I lived on the street for a few years. Got used to being hungry all the time. Got used to being rained on. Got by. I was painfully aware that I had magical talents, but without any kind of training or guidance, I didn't really know how to use or develop them. Truth be told, they scared me, so I more or less ignored them. So it just sort of went like that, until a few days after my 17th birthday. Then I met Marta, and everything changed. Marta was a sweet girl. At first I took her for a street kid like me. Her clothes were a little ratty, and she seemed comfortable being near me. But she also looked well-fed and happy. Those were two things that I hadn't been in years. We started hanging out, and before I knew what was happening, I was in love. There was a genuine attraction between Marta and me, I think. But I also think that a lot of my affection for her came from the fact that she was the first person in years that gave a damn about me. She cared, and I loved her for that. Glory pauses. She looks flustered, her composure cracked. Keep going, Glory. She stares at you for a beat, then nods. A few ragged breaths later, she continues. Martha told me about a place where she'd been hanging out. She invited me to join her there. It was called Fure Steel, the fireplace, and it was a sort of a commune for dispossessed youth. It turns out that a lot of the street kids I'd known over the years had moved there. The way that they disappeared, I'd assumed that they'd been kidnapped or killed or had gone back to their parents. But they were there. I remember how kind of angry about it. Like, how did everybody get the memo about this but me? Martha calmed me down. She was good at helping me work through my feelings, and I wound up following her to Feuerstel. To a street kid, it was basically paradise. The owner, a guy named Harrow, and sent me this little farm just outside of Tübingen in the Schönbuch forest. The Schönbuch is officially a nature park, but many people go there nowadays. But not many people go there nowadays. Too much fear of paranormal animals, I guess. Anyway, Parker and I was plenty big. It was plenty big enough for us to hide in. It was also safe and pretty, and the farm was well stocked with food. More importantly, Fearsteel gave us a sense of community and stability that we'd never had out on the street, and we loved Taro for that. He became like a surrogate father to us. Glory pauses again, and you recognize the distinct flush in her cheeks. She seems to have come out of her reverie once again. That's enough for now. I need to process all this, and I don't want to continue forward until I have the chance to do that. I know this all happened years ago, but I guess it's still pretty raw to me. So I'm gonna ask you to give me some space for a while. She turns away, and the frost begins to creep back into her voice. We can pick it back up later. Man. All right, Paul. Shift, welcome back. I have news for you. In your absence, I've been looking into the Hartfeld Manor. Whatever Fierschwing is up to, it is both large-scale and well-funded. I've uncovered a money trail leading from holding companies all over the world to an offshore fund with a dummy address. From there, all that freshly laundered money flows directly into the Hartfeld estate. Wait a second, why would a dragon have investors? That doesn't make any sense. It's doubtful that the Firewings pawns even know where their money's going. This is typical draconic plots. Uncover a stream of money flowing behind the scenes. There's a fair chance that you'll find a dragon at the receiving end of it. To a dragon, conspiracy is second nature. But Fierschwing was different. She didn't scheme or plot, she acted. Yes, and look where that got her. When the Firewing launched her attack on humanity, it was an act of hubris. She laughed out because she didn't consider our species to be a threat. It would be equally hubristic for us to assume that she will make the same mistake twice. I will continue digging into this while you and the team tackle your next run. With luck, I'll have more information to share upon your return. Sounds good. One last thing, Shift. Malie was able to restore the readable surface of one of Green Lantern's DVDs. If you'd like to take a look, you'll find it sitting beside a player. Just one? She's still working on the others. Many of them are extensively damaged, and getting anything off of them is proving to be quite a chore. She told me that she'll be in touch if and when she makes it any headway. Thanks, Paul. Let's check out that DVD. Load the second one. Ah, crap. It's... let's do it. Track 1. The screen goes black for a moment, and Grim Lynchers appears on the screen. The timestamp on the video reads 20:54:11:11. Alright, as I've said on my last recording, I've been having trouble finding hard facts on Fierschwing, so I thought I'd open things up a bit. Let's see what the rumor mill has to say. The screen jumps and Winters reappears in a different location. He's now clutching a mug of sword cap in both hands, and there are bags under his eyes. Oh, that was enlightening. Assuming that any of that was true, that is. So for the past 5 hours, I've been poking around some of the crazier fringe theories relating to dragons and the Sox. As a reminder, the Sox is an irradiated wasteland between France and Germany. It got zoned off back in '08 after the K-Tom Gao reactor meltdown. Anyway, there are all kinds of rumors floating around about the place. I've heard stories about a walled city in there that operates in a survival of the fittest, kill or be killed basis. Some sort of like a nightmare inversion of Berlin. All the anarchy, but none of the stability that the Epstein provides. The radiation poisoning, cancer, and mono pollution are just the icing on the cake. So when Adrian helped the Luftwaffe shoot down Fierschwing down, she crashed into the Sox. That much is well known. What is as well known are all the modern day myths that have arisen about her since. And tonight I've heard an earful. I chatted up a girl who claims to be a ghost rat. That's a smuggler that operates in the Sox. She told me about a dragon cult called the Disciples of the Cleansing Fire. Apparently these cultists worship some sort of radioactive ghost dragon. Could be Fierschwing or could be nothing. But that's worth digging into all the same. Another thing is that my little ghost rat told me. The popular rumor in the Sox is that Fierschwing's astral form was, I guess you'd say, mutated by all that background radiation. Some of the glow punks out there say that she's teared her body like an old coat. Others say she's trapped, doomed to languish as an intangible radioactive ghost. I don't know how much credence to give any of this. After all, I don't have any proof that my ghost rat is even a ghost rat. She might be, but then she could also be a run-of-the-mill glow punk. Or maybe she's just shanking my chain, and she's never been into the socks at all. Who knows? Well, it's food for thought anyway. I don't know whether the thought of some radioactive ghost dragon thing is any scarier than a genuine dragon is, but it's interesting all the same. Now the big question is, will any of this get me closer to finding Adrian? I'm gonna go out on a limb and say no, but you can never tell. Winters leans forward and presses something off screen. The display goes black. A few seconds later, the main menu returns. Track number 2. Same thing. Timestamp is 2054-11-12, so that's the next day. I think. Alright, let's continue thinking outside the box. After the Dragonfall, the great dragon Kaltenstein came flying into the socks to rescue the Firewing. But he was driven off, some say killed, by Lothlir and Nebelhar. So what if there's another dragon involved in all this? Winters grabs a thick, leather-bound tome from a shelf behind him, licks a finger and begins to leaf through it. Alright, so let's run down the list of major dragons that could be helping her. First, there's the Golden Worm, Lothlir, the CEO of Saderkrupp, and quite possibly the single most dangerous being on Earth. Lothlir is a local boy, so he'd be in a position to help Fiercewing. He certainly has the financial capability to help her. He could send a small army into the Socks if he wanted to. So he's definitely got the means, but I can't see how he'd have the motive. He actively prevented the Firewing's rescue back in 2012 after all. Same thing is true of Nebelhar. So let's scratch the both of them off the list. There's a page, frowning. We also got Aiden, the great Sirish. He's operating out of Turkey. By all accounts, he's not a fan of Lothlir. They're actively competing for territory in the Middle East. So I suppose that could be considered motive. Reviving the Firewing might cause problems for the Golden Worm. But why would he risk a war with Saderkrupp by straying into Lothlir's territory? Again, I don't think it's likely. He turns another page. There's Celadir out in Wales. He's pretty heavily invested in Transneuronet. So he's got the money, but he's too busy dealing with the BTL killer scandal that Transil is going through out of London to get his claws dirty in the Socks. Flip Dunkelzon out in the UCAS. He pauses, shakes his head, and slams the tome shut. No, this is a waste of time. The more I think about it, the more convinced I am. The Firewing is acting alone. Dragons don't cooperate unless they absolutely have to. After all, why bother making nice with your equals when you've got an entire planet full of pawns at your disposal? They don't need to work together. They have us to exploit. Winters leads forward and presses something off screen. This goes black. The menu's back. Okay, number 3. While the track does load, it's clearly corrupted. The screen is filled with meaningless screen of text. Oh, I'm not reading all this. 4. This file is partially garbled. You can recognize a few words here and there, but they're interspaced amongst a solid block of corrupted text. Vauclair. And still my big... Still searching for Irewing. Swear to... I will find... Lien, I will find you. It's the last old E. Okay. 5. The file's corrupted. The screen is filled with a meaningless assortment of ASC2 characters. 6. The screen goes black and you hear the same digital chime you've heard on the Dragonfall DVD plays again. A crackle of static fills the air, followed by that same now familiar electronic whine. A few moments later, the display goes live. Vauclair looks haggard. His eyes are heavily bagged and bloodshot, and his hair is mussed. He holds a cigarette in an unsteady hand. Oh, Adrian. Hermie, it's me. I can't sleep. I don't know where you are. I'm having fun, no doubt. Maybe flirting with one of those unattainable beauties that you've always chasing. He takes on a smile, but it quickly disappears. He takes a drag on a cigarette. That's good. I want you to have a pleasant, normal life. After all, one of us should. Will curled up his eyes. I can still smell the smoke, Hermie. It's almost a year later and I can still taste the stench of burning corpses. When I sleep, I hear the sirens and the screams. There is no sound in this world as horrible as a burn victim's screams. The doctors would call this PTSD, I'm sure. They'd have me in therapy, maybe douse me up on SSRIs, like they do to our veteran soldiers. He chuckles and takes another drag. Quite a story for the tabloids. The great Dragon Slayer, Agent Vauclair, mentally incapable of wrestling with his own demons. He shakes his head. No. No therapy for me and certainly no medication. I have a reputation to live up to. However poorly deserved it is, and however little I want it. He pauses, stubs out a cigarette. The dragon is still alive, Hermie. Of that I'm certain. One day I will find her, and then perhaps, I'll be able to sleep through the night. The display goes black and the background light fades away. A moment later, you find yourself deposited back to the main menu. Check the DVD. Well, that was a bit of interesting story time. So what have I been doing this week? Well, aside from dealing with things with some friends, I made the switch to Firefox from Chrome. I know how insane this sounds, but with what's going to go down soon with Chrome, I'm just like, I don't want to take the risks. Now, there's also, we gotta talk to some people, but we also have to talk to Dr. Escabel. I promise we do this quest first, and trust me, you want to do it first. Oh, Dante's greeting me. Doc! I got your message. What do you want to discuss? Business. I have a job for you. I'm always interested in hearing about new business opportunities. Good. So let's get down to brass tacks, shall we? Back before I emigrated here from my native Spain, I worked on partnership with a Berlin-based R&D lab. The biotech that they were developing is very hush-hush, very cutting-edge. One arrangement was that I would bankroll their research and they, in turn, would provide me with unique merchandise to sell in my clinics. Clinics? You have more than one? Certainly. I must confess that before I moved to Berlin, I was something of a celebrity doctor. I had a chain of triage clinics that stretched from Bilbao to Madrid. I was a very wealthy man. But then my name got slandered and the fickle mistress that has public perception turned against me. Oh, he got cancelled. An ugly business, I assure you. Even talking about my fall from grace makes my stomach turn. The injustice of it all is too much to bear. So how was your name slandered? What did you think? He sighs. What didn't they? Theft, medical malpractice, the sale of stolen goods, other more colorful accusations that do not bear repeating. But that was then, and this is now. I came here to Berlin to escape all that. Of course, I also moved here to be closer to the lab that I funded, the merchandise that I owned. So let me guess, you want me to go fetch your merchandise? Yes. And to find out what happened to the lab itself. The facility is locked down, you see, nearly impenetrable, and I have no idea why. As I was packing to move to Berlin, all was well. 16 hours later, I arrived to discover the building locked tight with my merchandise inside. The Turk, Altu, has been running surveillance on the site since I set up shop here. In that time, no one has entered and no one has left. Whatever went wrong in there, it must have killed the research team. I want you to find a way into the building, recover the cyber tech that they were developing, and find out what happened to the researchers in that order. The building's been abandoned. I'm surprised that the lot it's sitting on hasn't been gobbled up by some corp or another. Don't be. Back when I was a wealthy man before my legal troubles, I paid the lease for a decade in advance. And before you say anything, yes, it was a huge expense. But what's locked away inside of that lab is worth 10 times what I've spent on it. I don't want anyone laying claim on it but me. If your merchandise has been sitting in this building for 2 years, why didn't you approach Monica about it? Who says that I didn't? I had a, let's say, tumultuous friendship with your dear departed Monica. We had our ups and downs, you see, and on this subject, she was most certainly down. That was her choice. I am hoping that you will be savvy enough not to make the same mistake. Alright, let's talk compensation. What's in it for me? I can offer you 2,000 UN, plus first crack at whatever biotech you recover from the site. I will of course have to charge you for anything that you want to have installed, but I can provide it for you at a discount. This is top of the line ware that we're talking about, mind you. Better than anything else that I've got in stock. And because it's biotech, the essence loss from implanting will be minimal. It's a good deal. Win-win for you, really. So what's it gonna be? Will you take the job or not? Alright, Doc, I'm in. Excellent. The facility that you're looking for is the former laboratory of Soterlin Bioscience. Take the U-band to the Aten Europlatz, and you're sure to find it. Best of luck. Okay. Now, we definitely have to go ahead and do this quest. Biotech is insanely powerful. Not only do you limit the essence loss, you get some good shit. Okay, Gunare Metapach. Welcome back. You need some weapons, ammo? Got your message about the missing shipment. How can I help? He nods. Aye. A gang from a nearby Kies has been hijacking shipments bound for the cruise bazaar, taking money out of our pockets. Could you use your help to stop this from happening? Your dear departed Monica used to provide encryption and information control for the cruise bazaar. Now that she's gone, we merchants have been having no end of trouble. The obvious answer is that a gang has been intercepting our communications. What kind of communications? Shipping manifests, payment orders, that kind of thing. A group with an agenda could use that information to set up an ambush, and that's just what this gang has been doing. Several cargo trucks full of goods have already been hijacked en route to the cruise bazaar. I am tracking it. I had a tracking device placed on the last shipment that I sent out. Containers full of weapons and medical supplies, sure enough. It got taken and I tracked it to Gooseburnen. If you've never been there, it's a kiosk built out of an old U-Bahn station and some old bunkers. Rumor has it a new gang called Rabengeister is holed up there. I suspect that the two things are related. So I need you to go to Goosenburnen, find the Rabengeister, and get our goods back. I can offer 500 UN for the task. And if you can recover a missing weapons shipment, I'll be able to sell you some better hardware too. Tell me anything about this gang, the Rabengeister? He frowns. Not much, I'm afraid. From what I've heard, the Rabengeister are tricky. They have a reputation for stirring up trouble, then disappearing without a trace. I would tread carefully in Gesunburnen if I were you. How do I get there? Just take the U-Bahn. The line still runs, though not many folks stop at Gesunburnen anymore. The market there used to be something of a tourist attraction, but I think they've fallen on hard times recently. I'll take care of it. Good. It's about time I had some new inventory come in. And one more thing, Shift. I'm gonna need you to go in light for this one. Take a friend along if you'd like, but no more than one. If you spook them, they could trash the merchandise. Best go quiet. Best go soon, too, before the trail goes cold. Man! Really should have done this later. Alright, let's board this train. So the Game Awards happened, and no. Here it is. Okay, so we'll bring Dietrich, Glory, Iger. So, yeah, the Game Awards happened 2 days ago, and oh boy, it certainly was something. There was a whole lot of stuff that happened. I mean, new games were announced. Remnant 2 was actually announced. Elden Ring won Game of the Year. The Fluke guy. Armored Core 6. Do I even need to say it? Lockdown. The ride to Alden Neuroplas is a dismal one. Your only company on the train is an elderly dwarf in a ragged peacoat, and he spends most of his time muttering to himself. When the train rattles to a stop, he slowly rises from his perch and begins to hobble toward the doorway. The station itself isn't much different. An old broken down thing at the end of its useful life, feebly tottering towards obsolescence. This area of Berlin has clearly seen better days. A window of light shines down from the surface, and even that looks stale. Slowly, you begin to climb. Oh, this is that mission! I remember this now. Let's pop in this. Another grenade. Gory's all maxed up. Popping a grenade for the Iger. Let's rock. The street above the Alderner plots are dark and dismal. This key has seen better days. Everything here reeks of economic depression and faded glory. Looming above you is a fortress-like, seemingly impregnable facility. The windows have been shuttered with enormous steel panels, lending the entire building a sinister appearance. That's our target. Starter line bioscience. I wonder what happened in there. I think we're about to find out. There's a cheerful thought. Come on, boss, let's get this over with. However, I'm gonna go ahead and call that one for today, because it definitely feels like we're gonna be busy here in this place. I wish I could talk a bit more, but I'll talk more later once we get this done. Or possibly I might have to redo this whole episode again if I have to. Anyway, I'm Giant King Mark, and next time on Let's Play Shadowrun Dragonfall Director's Cut, we're gonna go and investigate this facility, find Dr. Escobar's Bioware, any intel, and then get that sweet, sweet new gear. If you if you guys like what you saw, hit that subscribe button to be notified when I'm going to be uploading. Hit the bell icon to stay updated. Hit the like button and leave a comment down below. Until then, see you guys next time. Laters.